Hi kids, I hope you had a great week. And for those of you who've gotten back to me with your workouts from last week, great job, I appreciate it. If you have struggled, open up the video. What's important to me is try to email me, communicate with me. I'll get back to you. If you email me, you could just tell me what you've done to be active for the week and why you think it's important to stay active on a regular basis. So going on to this week's video was walking, jogging, and biking. Today, my family is out on a trail out in Dighton, and we're gonna walk through these trails and see what we can find and get some fresh air and be with nature. So as you can see, we're in the middle of nowhere out here, but there is a trail that goes by the water, and we're gonna see what we can find. So when you walk, make sure you go with your family, with somebody, and make sure you have permission from your parents. We're not just walking out in the woods by yourselves. All right, that was the jogging piece. So I just jogged a mile and come back, check my pulse, take 2 fingers, slide it under my jaw. Take your pulse for 15 seconds. Multiply that by what, kids? Do the math, see if we got some math in it. 7? No. Multiply that by what? 4, right? That gets you 60 seconds. And then you can see what your heart rate was over a minute. So you can check your pulse to see if you're trained. Good formula would be 220 minus your age, and that comes up with the target heart rate zone, where if you could train in that zone for anywhere from like 10 to 20 minutes would be awesome at one time. And then you get yourself a cardiovascular workout. So again, make sure you're in a place where you're safe, where you can jog. If it's even around your house, it's fine. But if you can find a nice safe space, it'd be awesome if you could do it with your family. That'd be great. All right, I'll get back to you soon. Thank you. Okay, we just came out of our walk. We walked for about 20 minutes. We had some trails that were by the water. Show the water over there, Lizzie. We walked along by the water. We went all the way around through the woods, and we went through some nice terrain where you had to go up hills, down steep embankments, whatever you want to call them. We went through little bridges. We had to make our way through the woods because the path was wet. We had to make our own paths, but it was pretty cool. It was good to explore and get some fresh air and get some exercise. All right, going back into your checking your pulse. We talked about using your 2 fingers, sliding under your jaw, finding your pulse, and if you can count the beats for 15 seconds. And then once you get that number, you're gonna divide that by 4, and that gets you how many beats per minute your heart rate's. When we talked about the formula, 220 minus your age, I talked about that. That gives you your maximum heart rate, roughly. That's what your maximum heart rate is. And then you want to find your training zone off of that. So for example, for me, 220 minus my age. So if I'm 50, that would be 170, right? So 170 would be roughly my maximum heart rate. Now, depending on your fitness level is the formula you're going to use to try and get your heart rate up and to train. So if you're a beginner, like 50% of that 170 would be a good training zone for you, right around there. If you're more fit, better shape you're in, you can get that number up to 60%, 70% of that 170 number. And that's your actual training zone. And you can basically use that to practice and see how you're doing with that, but also how you feel as you jog or as you bike. You're feeling how you're breathing. If you're breathing, you should be able to breathe and talk at the same time and be comfortable. You don't want to be So breathing so heavy that you can't have a conversation. That means you're training too hard. So basically, you listen to your body, but that's just a rough idea how you find your training zones. So we did walking through the trails with my family. That was awesome. We found a lot of nice things. The jogging aspect, you're gonna jog. Like I said, if you can around your house, if you have a neighborhood or trails even, but like I said, it all has to be approved by your parents and something safe. Biking, if you have a bike, that's another great way to get some exercise and have a lot of fun. Like the trails we were on when we walked, that would have been awesome to do a mountain bike and ride through those trails on your bikes if you're good at riding, and that would be a lot of fun. Way to get exercise and to keep it different rather than riding around your neighborhood, which is another option as well. So that's what we wanted to talk about this week, was walking, jogging, and biking. Another way to stay fit and be active, and that's an activity that you can do with your family to socialize and have a lot of fun. Basically, where you can have your training regimen based on the terrain that you use. For example, when we were walking in the woods and went through those trails, we had to go up these hills, down the hills, through rocks. It was pretty cool. And by going up and down those hills, you're making it more intensity, which is a better workout. Same with biking. You go up hills, down hills. That's going to affect your training regimen as well. And again, with the bikes, it's awesome if you have all the gears to change your gears from low to higher speeds to make it easy to pedal up the hills. But that's another way to incorporate interval training into your workouts. Okay, and when you're done doing all these, and you should try and do this for like a 20 minutes to a half hour, at least 3 days a week, maybe more if you can, but at least every other day would be awesome. Again, don't forget your warm-ups beforehand. We talked about all the warm-ups that you could do, which are the dynamic stretching, high knees, butt kicks, karaokes, jumps, just to get your heart rate, get your muscles warmed up and ready to go. And then after, when you're done, you come back and sit down and do some static stretching. Stretch out your hamstrings, which are in the back of your legs, your calf muscles, which we did before. We remember all the stretches. And then, stretch for a good 5 minutes when you're done. 5 minutes before, 5 minutes when you're done, and try and ride for like 20 minutes to a half hour, jog or bike. That's it for this week. Stay safe, be active, help out your parents, very important in this time, and I hope we get to see you soon, and we'll be getting back to another video for next week. Thank you very much.